It was the winter of, I believe, 78. And I had a baby and I had a 2-year-old, and my husband was working tremendous hours, never around. And I was desperate for some sort of outlet. And I had taken my one of my little girls to a gym and stuff class, and I thought, well, you know what, I can teach this. I can get involved. I have a master's in education. I can do this. So I walked into Carolyn Kent's office and said, Carolyn, I'd like to see if you'd be willing to allow me to teach. And she basically hired me on the spot, and I started working with Sarah Updike in the gym classes and gym and stuff classes. And at that time, there were so many women my age who were all education degrees, and husbands were working multiple hours. We all had babies. We were desperate for some sort of outlet besides our children, adult conversation, and actually being using our minds. And we were all teaching at the Y under Carolyn Kent. It was a wonderful time. At the same time, I was teaching a gym and stuff class, and it was right when Evanston went to an all-day kindergarten situation. And there were a lot of parents that felt that particularly their boys, were not ready to be sitting all day long. And I was teaching gym and stuff, and they came to me and said, why doesn't the Y have a preschool 3-year-old program? Would you think about starting one? So I went to Carolyn and I said, here's what they would like. They just want some gym and swim, and they want a couple of mornings a week, and let's do something. And thus, Just for Threes evolved. We did that, was very successful, packed the program, and Guilford was one of my teachers, Beth Geiger, Mary Rogers, Sue Ziprick, the list goes on, who all worked together. And the same group of women came to me and they said, you know, we really want something for our 4-year-olds, and we don't want to put them in a traditional nursery school. We love the gym and swim. We love all the activities. Would you think about doing a 4-year-old program? So went back to Carolyn, and so what we did was we split the week. We had 3 mornings a week that became more for 4s, 2 mornings a week that became just for 3s. And again, very successful. We started moving all over the Y. And then they came to me again, and they said, you know, our boys, we do not feel are ready to go to an all-day kindergarten situation. We'd like the opportunity to be able to decide whether to put them in first grade next year or whether to not. Would you think about starting a 5-year-old program? Alive with 5s happened. And at that point, I said to Carolyn, I'm not a nursery school administrator. I don't choose to be a nursery school administrator. Let's find someone who can take this program and really take it where I know that it can go. And one of the teachers was Debbie Voris. Debbie Voris took it over. I then went back and taught gym classes with the Alive with 5 program. And we had a candidate, a friend of Debbie's, I can't think of her name, but she was a PhD candidate, and she developed the 5-year-old program and had someone working with her. So it was developed by someone working on their PhD in reading at the time. And then the rest is history. Debbie Voris took it on to Discovery Preschool. They were all over the Y. St. Mary's opened up. Debbie moved it over to St. Mary's, and it is now today the Children's Center with over 300 children in various different programs of part-time, full-day, preschool, after school. It's fabulous, and I have a grandchild right now in the program, and I had a grandchild that graduated from the program last year. So it was pretty exciting for me to go full circle to see. It's like I'm a proud parent of the program itself, and then to have grandchildren now in the program and choose to go to the program, it makes me very, very proud of all the people that were involved to get it to where it's at today. And that's the Children's Center story. It began for me in the late 70s when I walked into the door and had a definite need for myself and my children, an outlet. And it fit well. I could work there. I could use my creative talents, and my children could be part of the Y. The preschool program was developing at the time. It was a time in history when there wasn't a lot for a lot of preschools in Evanston, and it was an opportunity that we took to establish and meet a need within Evanston. In the early 80s, there was a need for a program just beyond gym and swim and gym and stuff. A morning program, 2 mornings a week for 3-year-olds, just for threes. The next year, could we have a 3 morning a week for 4-year-olds, more for fours, 3 mornings a week. And the next year, we don't want to put our boys in all-day kindergarten. And I'm talking boys because it was a need for boys. Could you think about developing a half-day, 5 morning a week, 5-year-old program, a Live with Fives? And I think most of those children that were in that Live with Five programs went directly into first grade and did not miss a beat at all, missing all-day kindergarten, which was wonderful. This program became Discovery Preschool under Debbie Voris's tutelage, and now is the Children's Center with over 300 children that we're serving in Evanston. I had a unique opportunity to be asked to fill that need, given the creative ability from my leader, Carolyn Kent, to allow me to fail if that was the part, or to succeed. I feel it's a very precious time. There were so many of us that had master's degrees in education that were doing nothing, and it was just the right people at the right time to allow something to happen that is tremendous today. I can sum it up by the fact that it is my Evanston lifetime experience. We moved to Evanston in 1975. My 3 children were born here. The Y was a very big part of their growing up years, of my growing up years. It has provided me with unbelievable opportunities to be a participant, to be a part-time staff, to be part of a creative collaboration of various different programs, the Children's Center, Women's Wellness, and then now the ultimate, which is to be the chair of the board of this wonderful organization. That's an unbelievable opportunity. And the fact that Bill Geiger was also working at the Y in the 80s, and Sue Calder, who is my vice chair, was beginning her volunteer service at the Y. And here we are in 2009, and Bill's the CEO, and I'm the chair, and Sue is the vice chair. That's an Evanston story in itself. Bill's an Evanstonian. Sue and I are both the mover in that transports in, and we are an Evanston story. This is what I love about Evanston. There have always been so many opportunities in my lifetime to do something significant and be able to stay around long enough to see the result of what we started, and see what other people have done to make it what it is. I always like to plant seeds. That's my thing. I like the idea process. I like the development process. I like the seed planting. And then I love to turn it over to other people to water it and fertilize it and make it grow. And then I love to sit back and see what happens with that. And I've been very, very fortunate to be around Evanston for that long to be able to see several programs do that. Well, it's fun seeing my grandkids there now. And last Friday, Bill and Matt and I were taking some people on a tour for fundraising aspects. And through the lobby runs my grandson, who like, na, and then my daughter, and Bill goes, well, here are 3 generations right here. And that was a pretty phenomenal moment, actually. I have friends from the Y that cross-section me in other aspects of Evanston, and I work with them in other parts of my life, and that's really special. Many of them, we have little parts of us that we were working together at the Y at a certain time, and then we end up working later on on a project that is a different Evanston project, and it's, you kind of start, you haven't maybe worked together for 15 years, but you remember those years at the Y, and you just kind of hit the ground running in another part of Evanston. That's happened to me several different times, whether it's working on the Women's History Project, working at the Evanston Community Foundation, working at the high school. Going to different fundraisers, there's this connection that happens that it just keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening. And again, I think that's an Evanston story.